Hi, everyone. Welcome to Getting Real. I'm your host, Monique Hom. And on this live, we focus on authentic, real stories of real estate investing. And today, right now, this is, in the US, this is the in like Freedom Week. The first, which was Monday, is Financial Freedom Day in the US. Tomorrow is our 4th of July, our Independence Day. So this is a week really about independence. And one of my mission and our mission at Real Estate Investor Goddesses is to help 1 million women create financial freedom, financial independence through real estate investing. And so we're all about that. And today I want to talk about the biggest limit to creating financial freedom. And this is what keeps most women, most anybody from doing it. And it really has to do with what goes on between your ears, your mindset, your limiting beliefs, and your self worth. Self worth is equal to net worth, but all that self worth has to do with those beliefs inside that tells you how worthy you are, how much you can allow yourself to receive, how what you will allow yourself to create and live. So this is a really huge part of wealth, right? And so I want to talk about that. This is a um, and I have a few exercises and things to focus on that will really highlight this. Um, and this is getting real. So I'm gonna get real about my own limiting beliefs in this area and some of my own struggles that I've had around money. Because ultimately, our ability to allow in financial freedom has to do with our relationship with money, our beliefs around money. This money is an energy that we are either attracting or repelling based off of our beliefs. And a lot of those beliefs, um, a lot of that, like our internal thermostat for how much we're allowing ourselves to receive or not receive, uh, we set when we were little, when we were children. And so I want you to think too, as you're, as we go through it, like what might your story be? And if you are looking at your bank account, the amount of passive income you have or don't have, and you're not happy with what you're seeing, and you would like the situation to be different or better, then there is something here happening between your ears that wants and needs to shift in order to do that. So we're going to get into that today. But a little bit about my money history. So I grew up, and when I was little, I remember my experiences around money, my memories around money. When it was time to pay bills, I remember just my parents would be at a table and there would be yelling. There would be fights. It was, for me, really scary and really stressful. And so I had a belief that established when I was a wee one, and it seemed to make sense to my to little Monique that the reason they're fighting is because money is really stressful to deal with. So when money is going to come in, I'm just going to let it go out as soon as possible so that I don't have to deal with that stressful energy and nobody's going to get angry because I didn't like that anger. I just wanted peace. So, what that ended up being is me being very avoidant around money. So, I didn't like paying bills. I would allow bills to pile up. I would pay them when I got a second bill with a like overdue notice, like on the back, like on the side of the envelope, like it's overdue. I was always paying late fees. I lived in a lot of financial chaos. I lived in a lot of financial chaos. When I got married, when I got engaged, I realized that I really needed to shift this financial chaos because I knew that money stressors was one of the biggest cause of divorce. And I didn't want to bring my chaos into my new family with my husband and my two stepkids. And I wanted us to start on strong footing. So I started at that point to really my shift myself around money. One of the things that when there's something that you want to change in your life, um, then the way to make a change that you see on the outside is to make the change first on the inside, because it's what's happening on the inside ultimately that is responsible for what you're seeing on the outside. So a lot of people try to shift from the outside in. It doesn't work that way. It's an inside job. That's why it's one of the biggest limiters to your financial freedom. Because if we have what's happening here all in sync, if when our beliefs are in alignment with our desires, then our actions will be and our results will be. But if we say we desire something, but our beliefs are out of alignment with that, right? So you could say that you desire financial freedom. And I define financial freedom as having passive income streams that equal or exceed your expenses. So if you say you want financial freedom, and for you, but you have this belief that you have to work hard for your money. There's no pain, no gain, or else you don't deserve it. You're only deserving if you've worked really hard. If you have that belief, or if you have a belief that if you're financially free, you're wealthy, but wealthy people are greedy, or you believe money is the root of all evil. Money is bad. The people with money, the 1%, are bad people, greedy, terrible people. And we are not greedy, terrible people. We don't want to be greedy, terrible people. And want to be deserving. If we have those beliefs, even though we say we want financial freedom, we say we want that ease, we say we want more money, but our beliefs are out of alignment. And ultimately, we're not going to take the actions that we need to take, and we are not going to have the results that we want. So like I said, when I got engaged, I went to try to shift around, this whole thing. And it took, and I'll be honest, I still work on myself and my beliefs every day, because, I mean, in my desires to be a billionaire, definitely not that yet. So there's still something there, and I feel like each new digit, right? If you've been making 5 figures, you want to make 6 figures. If you've been 6 figures, you want to get to 7 figures, 7 figures to 8 figures, right? Each new one is a mindset shift. It's a paradigm shift internally that will allow you to get to that new level, and to get to that new level with ease. All right. Because you could get there, and there are some people that are like, yeah, they're at that level, they're making money, but their belief is that they have to work really hard, and they are grinding themselves down, and they're doing it at the expense of their relationships, at the expense of their health, at the expense of their happiness, then that is also off, right? So I want you, in our program, the Millionaire Real Estate Investor Goddess program, we're working on how do you increase your net worth by increasing your net worth by seven figures in 2 years or less. But at the same time, we have this joy and pleasurable life self-assessment tool that we're looking at, and we're measuring, how are we doing with our health, with our outlook, with our positive, our emotional state, with our relationships, with our ability to contribute, our ability to feel like we are being fully expressed with our joy and pleasure. And we're measuring that to make sure that while our income is increasing, those things are increasing too. So we want all of that, because ultimately, like, that is financial freedom, financial independence. You want it to bring, to allow you to have more joy. So how do we do this? I'll share some of the steps that I am taking, that are helping me to do that. And I'm going to invite you to do these exercises as well. So the first one is to really look at, so, I was saying a lot of people will look at the outside. They're looking at what's happening on the outside, and based off of what they're seeing on the outside, they're going to blame what's going on the outside for what's happening for them on the inside. And so this first exercise is called, who are you blaming? Who are you blaming? And hold on, my funky things are happening on my screen, which is why this is live. We're all real. Okay, so now I'm back. I have notes that got weird. Okay, so back to this first game that we're gonna play. All right, so we often will say, if you're saying, no, I would have more money, I would have financial freedom that I'm seeking, but what's really getting in the way is my spouse, my boss, my coworkers, the government, taxes, global warming, my negative relatives. I don't have any support. All the people that are judging me because of prejudice, because of racism, because of sexism, because I'm too old, because I'm too young, because I'm way too much. Whatever it is that external factor that is outside of you that you're saying, and I just write it down. Like, who's to blame for your situation? Who or what? Write it all down. Don't limit yourself. Right. And I, before I did this, I would have said, yeah, it's hard for me. I didn't grow up with a family that taught me how to do this, right? It's like my upbringing, that's to blame. My, the fact that I am, I could come up with a bunch of things, right? It's like my upbringing, my, yeah, my spouse isn't good, whatever it is. Actually, my husband's pretty amazing, super helpful, but whoever you're blaming, or whatever you're blaming, whatever's to blame, write it down. Don't limit yourself. Really be honest. Like, this is the problem. Right? It's the government, the taxes, all of it. Put it down. And then there's a worksheet, let me see if I can get that. I'll try to put the link in the chat. There's a wonderful woman called Byron Katie, and she does the work. And if you go to thework.com, and I'm going to find resources for you. She has various downloads, and there's one called the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. And this, I'll put the link here in the chat for you. And this Judge Your Neighbor worksheet is a way of looking at a belief and that you think is true and working through it, right? So in this situation, who angers, confuses, hurts, saddens, or disappoints you, and why. So it could say, I'm upset, I'm disappointed with my parents because they fought over money, and they didn't teach me how to be good with money, how to save, how to invest. And it's their fault that I had issues around money. Right. So that was my belief. And then you go through it. So looking at what would you want them to change, what advice, and you go through it, and then you do these turnarounds. And as you go through and you start to realize, maybe there's a different way of looking at it. Maybe that's not to blame. Maybe the issue is me. And we want to get to you go through, clear everyone you're blaming, everyone you resent, everyone you're mad at, around, like everyone who's at fault. And then you clear that, and you get to the only person to blame, not even to blame, the only person responsible is you. Is me. The only person responsible at the end of the day is me. But what responsibility means is I am able to respond. I am able to change. I am able to create something new, better, and different, because I have control. So ultimately, figuring this out, working through this, helps you be able to take back control over your life and your results. So that is a huge step. So that's the first one. Now the second one is to look at, what are you afraid of? Ultimately, what are you most afraid of? And sometimes, and there's this deepest fear inventory that I'm going to invite you to do. That's this other exercise. But what you're looking at is you're going to really look at why you are afraid of having what you think you want. Right? So it again, I didn't have it. Let me find it. The deepest fear inventory. I'm going to put in a link for this, and I'll put that in the chat as well. It's from another blog post. So this deepest fear inventory is one. It comes from Carolyn Grace Elliott, and in her book Existential Kink, and it is very, very powerful. And it's inspired by the Marianne Williamson quote that our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond all measure. And so what you do with this deepest fear inventory, and you're going to take a sheet of paper and write it down, not put it on a computer, because you need to rip up the sheet of paper later, is at the top of the paper, you are going to write a letter to your higher power, whoever, and it could be your higher self, God, universe, just, and the great mystery, Mother Nature, whoever you think of as larger than yourself. And you're going to say, I hate and resent. And you're going to say the thing that you really want. I hate and resent being or achieving financial freedom because I have a deep fear that and it could be I hate and resent receiving passive income easily and effortlessly because I have a deep fear that I need to hustle I need to hustle. And I find that need to hustle exciting because I have a deep fear that I don't deserve it, because I have a deep fear that wealth has something to do with deservingness, because I have a deep fear that my friends will resent me and envy me more easily if I have received wealth, because I have a deep fear that if I have a lot of money, I will be unsafe physically. I have a deep fear that my ego will be unimportant if I receive too easily and effortlessly, because I have a deep fear that I get a sense of importance and superiority from my work ethic, whatever it is. And in the link, there are some examples. At the end, you're going to ask your higher power. I ask that you remove these fears. I pray only for knowledge of your will for me and the power to carry it out. And then amen. You're going to read that list to someone else. They're going to say, thank you. That's it. They're not going to talk about it. They're just going to hear you and you rip it up. Because oftentimes what is getting in our way, these fears, like we think we have a fear of not getting what we want, but really we have fears around getting what we want. And how do I know that we have that fear? Because we don't have it yet. If we had it, we already had it, right? If we didn't have those fears, we'd already have it. So that's in the way. So that's deepest fear exercise is super powerful. All right. So first is like, who are we blaming? Who are we resenting? Who's like in the way? We clear that out to get to the point where we know that we have the responsibility, the ability to respond, the ability to create what we want. It's on us. Nothing is in our way. And then, except for us. And then we go into the fears and fears, like what? And just like excavating those fears helps to shift out of it, right? And then the last the last suggestion that I'll make are actually two books that will really help, I think, to shift your mindset and to shift your sense of self-worth so that you can allow in more net worth. So the first book really that is super focused on the self-worth piece, and I'm reading it right now and I'm finding it excellent. And it's a book called Worthy by Nancy Levin, Levin. And it's a book filled with exercises to help you excavate what, really, like, what are the stories that are there and that are affecting your self-worth, and that will make you feel that you can accept in more. With my self-worth as a young girl, I and part of the as my parents are fighting over money, one of the lessons that I I I learned, right, that I thought was true, was that I I needed more money to be loved. I needed more money to be loved, but ultimately, if I had but the money would make people angry. So on the one hand, like, I'm not really lovable until I have money, but I'm also not, but if I hold on to it, then it causes too much tension. So I would bring it in, but also let it out very quickly. And wealth is not just about what you make, it's about what you keep. And I was not keeping anything. I was deading. So I was, letting it out plus. So I've had to shift that and learn that and and have a new story and work and do it on a very deep level, because this old story, this very confused 7-year-old part of me was running the show when it came to money. And I had to rework the pathway. So Worthy is one book that's really helpful. And the other book is Rewire for Wealth by Barbara Hewson. And that book really helps you get awareness, helps you recognize and then reframe and then have a new reaction, a new way of being around it. So both of those books are really helpful. Those are the three main suggestions, and it's going to take some time to work on those things. But ultimately, if you're what's going on between your ears, if you can get your beliefs in alignment with your desires, then the action and the results will come. But if your beliefs are not in alignment with your actions, you will be like a hamster in a hamster wheel, and you will look very busy. But ultimately, you will not be doing what it takes to get to the financial freedom that you say you want. So you won't, your brain won't allow you ultimately to achieve it. So that's what I hope that you take away today from this work, is that you work on who are you blaming, you work on your deepest fears, and you rewire your brain to accept. And once all that's in alignment, then more will come with ease, grace, and flow, which is what I so desire for you. So that is getting real. I want to end. So I love to end with a trinity, which is a brag, a gratitude, and a desire. So what do I brag? I brag that last night we had a quick start call with 3 of our newest goddesses in our Millionaire Real Estate Investor Goddess program. And it was so fun. Like I brag the 3 new goddesses. I brag starting with dancing. I brag just that we're making money with having more joy and pleasure. And I brag all of that. So that's my brag, my celebration. And I am grateful. So gratitude's next. I'm grateful for this Independence Day, this Independence Week. I'm grateful for this reminder that ultimately we are free, right? And that the only thing that is keeping me in any sort of bondage is me. And that I have the key. So that's what I'm grateful for. And I desire us all to unlock that key, unlock that door to all of this incredible amount of abundance that is for us. So that's my desire. I desire for all of us to receive all the abundance that we desire with ease, grace, and flow, and for us to just allow it, because I dearly believe that that's what our higher power wants for us. So that's my trinity, my brag, gratitude, desire. I'd love for you to share your brag, gratitude, and desires in the chat, in the comments. Please also share any questions you have, and definitely see you next time for our next episode of Getting Real. And I hope that this week you get real and you stay real. I love you all. See you next time.